What is up, y'all? Coach David here, and I'm going to talk about the pigeon today. So the way I like to do pigeon, I'm usually doing a loaded pigeon, what I would call a loaded pigeon. I do a stretchy pigeon where I'm just trying to stretch out, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a pigeon where I'm looking for my glutes, a pigeon where I'm looking for my backside, a pigeon that's going to translate into the way I crawl, walk, run, etc. So the way I like to find my setup is the same as the rockers. We're going to go hands under shoulders, knees under hips, toes in, heels out, pressing tops of our feet, outsides of our feet, outsides of our shins into the earth. We're going to spread them wide. Spread our legs wide, spread our hips wide, knees wide to find our glutes. And we're going to pick a side. I'm going to do my right. Once we've got this tension, we're feeling our glutes, we're going to do a little lateral shift to the right. Find that right hip. Once we start to find it, we're going to allow ourselves to swivel. So everything's going to swivel. My head's going to come over my right knee, and I'm going to back step, crisscross this leg over. So now I'm already looking for my right glute, active from my right foot up to my hip, pressing the top of my foot outside of my shin into the ground and pulling that right hip up to the sky. We'll talk about the ISO first. So when I get into a pigeon, I like to hold this ISO position. So I'm pressurizing this glute, I'm pulling length out of my spine, pulling my right ear to the sky. We can bring this right hand to the chest, bring our ribs in tight to ourselves, as if there was almost like a blade here. You didn't want to touch you. You don't want your ribs pooching out, hyperextending. You want to be nice and collected, feeling your backside engaged. So I'm here, ISO. I could ISO high like I am. I could work to a no-handed ISO. Boom, which is difficult today. No-handed ISO, or you could go low, still engaged, real crawly. Just matters that we're pressurizing that glute, pulling length out of our spine. Eyes up, looking at the environment around me. Breathing into this ISO. Once you feel like you're starting to really own the ISO, we can start to rep. So I'm gonna take my right hip, just rock it a little bit back, 1 or 2 inches back and forward. Back, reset forward, back, forward. My left leg is internally rotated and it's just sliding back along the ground. Right hip rocking back and away, looking for my right glute. If you're having trouble finding it, you can always come to an elevated surface. So I've got like a little mini ottoman right here. You can go hands on your support, find your pigeon, and just search for the glute up here. Sometimes it's easier to go higher to really pull you into the back chain. So we've got ISO, and then we've got repping back and away. These are essentially drop-ins just on the ground, back of that right hip. Once you feel like you're really owning this loading, we can start to play with a little release. So we could do a tracer forward, where I'm starting to incorporate a little release, a little coming around the corner. We can also let everything swivel, get real swivelly. So we've got ISO, load, and tracer. You can always elevate the back leg and pull this hand to your chest to intensify, and you could rep out from up here too. This would be like an elevated drop-in on the ground pretty much. Right glute back, right glute back, right glute back. That's our pigeon. Wow, my glutes fired out from that. Play around with it. Definitely encourage active and resting pigeons. Play around with both. Do what feels good for your body. Have fun moving.